Hey, what's good, everybody? I'm joined here with Eric. What you do and what you play?
So this weekend I took second at the Vancouver regionals, only losing to the guy who took first. And I played branded Despia with the Tearlaments engine.
Awesome, bro. Do you have any shoutouts?
Shoutouts to the mat I used for the whole event. You can find it on my eBay shop that Jim will put in the description below.
Awesome. Let's get into that list.
Alright, so for the Tearlaments engine, there's still quite a few of them, even though the main focus is the branded Despia portion, and that's just because I want to hit the mills. So 3 Shyren, 3 Huffinus, 2 Rhino Heart, 2 Merly, and 1 Trap. I think Shyren is probably the best Tearlament because the discard helps you start up into your branded Despia engine a lot of the times, and it lets you get a tragedy into the graveyard to search into an Aluber. So since this deck just has so many ways to get tragedy into the graveyard, it's almost like tragedy is in a way a better Aluber. And then we're playing 2 Rhino and 2 Merly because these are the more normal summonable Tearlaments. And because we're also playing the Aluber and the Fallen of Albaz, I didn't want too many normal summons. And the Trap is just another interaction for going first, but for going second I always sided out 1 Trap and 1 Rhino Heart. So that's it for the Tearlaments engine. For the branded Despia engine, I'm playing 2 Aluber, 3 Tragedy, 1 Adlib, 1 Dramaturge, 2 Fallen of Albaz, 1 Theater, 3 Branded Fusion, 3 Opening, and 2 Branded in red. I ran the 2 Aluber because again, I didn't want too many normal summons, and with the Rhino Heart and the Fallen of Albaz, I just didn't want my hand clogged up with normal summons. I'm also running the Lava Golems in side decks, so I just really didn't want to see too many normal summons. I was playing 3 Tragedy because, like I said, this deck just has so many ways to get Tragedy into grave that Tragedy is basically just another copy of Aluber, but Tragedy's a bit better than Aluber if you can get it into the grave to search. Because Tragedy guarantees you follow-up on your next turn because of the graveyard effect to banish to reset a branded fusion or whatever branded spell trap you need. And then the Theater, I was siding this out going second every time. I might cut the Theater for a 3rd branded in red. It didn't really come up too much, but the logic behind the Theater was I just wanted a searchable way to potentially make Guardian Chimera if I wanted for going second. And then I played 3 King of the Swamp and the 1 Poly. The 1 Poly is mostly just for making Guardian Chimera going second and proccing the Tearlaments monsters. I never really missed a 2nd Poly or a fusion substitute, so I don't think you need more than 1 Poly for this deck. And then the King of the Swamp, I really liked him at 3 because the Tear engine, one of the big reasons why it complements branded Despia so much in my opinion is it really helps you push past the 1 Ash for branded fusion, because if you ever open King of the Swamp or you hit him off a mill, generally you're able to make Millennium Eyes as your first fusion summon before you activate branded fusion, and then that just answers the Ash and lets you extend. Also, this card is really broken with Super Poly, which I'm also running because it can substitute Fallen of Albaz. And my issue with Super Poly in the past is sometimes it's just not there's just not enough generic material to Super Poly your opponent's monsters away. But Mirror Jade is Fallen of Albaz plus 1 extra deck monster, and basically every deck is like ending on some kind of extra deck monster boss. So if you open like Fallen of Albaz or a King of the Swamp, which is like an extra 3 copies of Fallen of Albaz if you want, and Super Poly, you're generally able to like break most boards, assuming you're not getting like Scythe locked or something, because you can set Fallen of Albaz and then Super Poly it and your opponent's like most problematic monster at the time. So the 3 King of the Swamp, it never bricked me. I thought it was like always a good mill, and yeah, I thought it was like really good, so I wouldn't cut that to 2. And then for the broken 1-ofs, I played 1 Instant Fusion, 1 Called By, and 1 Fairy Tale Snow. All 3 of these cards are like really broken. I don't think Snow ever should have come off the list, but yeah, Snow just went crazy the whole weekend. Used the effect to banish for cost to dodge like a ton of targeting. Was really relevant all weekend. Instant Fusion, it's like the 1 card starter for your whole Tearlaments engine. Just really good. I wasn't running Foolish because I felt like Foolish was the worst like starter for my deck, because when you mill Foolish, it doesn't do anything off the Tearlaments engine. And I found that when I was playing without the Foolish, I never had any consistency issues or like any issues seeing starters, because the deck just had so many 1 card and like 2 card starters that I never had any kind of startup like issues. The only issues were I guess like seeing the go second board breakers, which this deck doesn't run too much of because the 2 engines take up so much space. So I decided to cut it and have a slightly smaller deck just to see the board breakers a bit more. And for board breakers and go second, I'm just running the 3 Super Poly and the 3 Dark Ruler no more. I'd say this is probably like the biggest weakness of the deck. There's just not enough like space for defensive cards like hand traps and such, so you just have to run like the most impactful kind of board breakers.
How was Dark Ruler for you in the main?
Dark Ruler was really good in the main, yeah. Pretty much whenever it resolved, I could like break their board. Throughout the tournament though, I saw Super Poly like a bit more, and for sure Super Poly was a bit more impactful. Kind of last minute, I put in like the Garura for Splight and Rogue, and the Garura came up a lot during the tournament. I remember there's like 1 Sprite player in game 1. He used the frog to summon, he used the toad to summon out the dupe frog, and then I made Garura, and then after he saw the Garura, in game 3 when he had toad, I paused during standby and asked him if he had anything in standby, and he said no, because he wanted to play around the Super Poly, but I didn't open the Super Poly that game, so it was kind of funny, yeah.
Gotcha. How many was that in the main again?
42 in the main.
42, okay.
For the extra, we're playing the 2 Albion, the 1 Lubellion, and the 2 Mirror Jades. I think all of these cards were really necessary. I went into the 2nd Mirror Jade a lot. I burned through like 2 Albions like at least once every match, so all of these were really necessary. The 2nd Lubellion didn't come up like too much, but this is probably the minimum branded Despia engine. So I really like this ratio for this deck, and again, the main focus of this deck is to go into the branded Despia line over the Tearlaments line, and the Tearlaments line is kind of just there to complement the branded Despia line. And to, I guess, kind of echo this sentiment, the only Tearlaments card I run in the extra deck is the 1 Kit Kalos. I cut the Kaleido Heart because I just found that I didn't have enough ways to like consistently trigger it, and it just didn't feel like it was doing enough, so I cut it. I also cut the 2nd Kit Kalos because I didn't feel like I was like going into it enough, and a lot of the times you shuffle the first like Kit Kalos back anyways, so throughout the whole tournament I never missed Kaleido Heart or Kit Kalos. I played the 1 Masquerade, the 1 Titan Clad, the 1 Despian Quartus. I think Titan Clad and Despian Quartus are both like really necessary extra deck cards for the branded Despia strategy. Nib wasn't really like that present during the tournament, but this card helps you like play around Nib, because if they try to Nib you, you can chain Mirror Jade, send this for cost, and then during end phase, this will summon out Fallen Valbaz and fuse with their Nibiru to make another Mirror Jade, because you should still typically still have the Albion live. So you'll summon out Fallen Valbaz, fuse into Albion, and then Albion will make the Mirror Jade, and then you'll still end on a board if you get nibbed, because this deck doesn't set up like hard negates to play around nib, but this card gives you like the option to play through nib, and then this card is really good in the mirror because it lets you play around Super Poly, because if they Super Poly this card away, you can summon out like Fallen of Albaz and Super Poly them back basically. And then I played the 1 Draco Stapella, the 1 Starving Venom, the 1 Garura, the 1 Millennium Eyes, the 1 Guardian Chimera, and the 1 Dark. Kinda last minute, I put in the Dark over the Kaleido Heart because I wanted like an out in case someone like tried to Ibly me or do something weird like that. I never saw Ibly, but a few of the Sprite players told me they were running 1 Ibly in the side deck, and they asked me if I had an answer for it if they made it on me, and I showed them the Dark. So it could have come up, it never came up during the tournament. And then the card that did come up a lot was the Drago Stapella. Originally I was trying to like fit 2, but I just couldn't really find like the extra deck space to keep the second Drago Stapella, but this card was really impactful into the Sprite matchup, because if they normal summon Diva, you negate the effect, so it stops a body, and then it makes the Diva level 1, and it kind of just puts them on better have like starter to be able to extend. So I was kind of missing like the second Draco Stapella for the whole weekend, because I played against like 3 Sprite players, and every Sprite matchup this card was like really impactful in. So going forward, maybe I'll try to find like the space to fit in the second Draco Stapella. And then for the extra deck, I played the 3 Deck Devastation Virus for Sprite. Never saw it once, never resolved it once, sided it in, going first against like Sprite every time. It just never came up. Yeah. I ran the 3 Evenly Matched. I think this card is like really good into pure Tearlament, because they don't set up like hard negates, and I feel like that pure Tearlament deck has like a issue with follow-up. So normally if you clear their first board, their turn 3 board is like really mediocre. It's also really good into like control decks, and I did play like Eldritch in round 1 and Exo Sister in like round 2, so Exo Sister in round 8, and this card came up like it didn't come up into the Eldritch match because I didn't see it, but it was really good into the Exo Sister matchup because the guy set like 4, and then I tried to evenly him, and he just lost like a lot of card advantage from that. And then the 1 Reboot, the 3 Twin, and the 1 Duster for just more like back row hate. There's still like Mystic Mine in the meta. My round 1 and 2 opponents like did slap down Mystic Mine, so I just wanted like some outs to Mystic Mine, and then the 1 Reboot to try to see it when they flip D-Barrier on me. I never saw it this weekend, so that never came up. I just kind of took the L to like D-Barrier, but you still have to put 1 inside. And then the 2 lava golems to just have a few more board breakers, and the Necro World and the Zombie World package.
Awesome, bro. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, overall it was like a pretty fun regionals. This was my first like regional top. So I was like pretty happy about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Been playing the game for 6 months now, and this is the 3rd regionals. So pretty happy about the top. Hopefully next time I can maybe take the whole thing, go undefeated.
Yeah, I would not be surprised, bro. You definitely came a long way in such a short amount of time, so it's great to see. Yeah, congrats, bro. For everybody out there watching, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next one. Thank you. Peace.